Hello there. My name is Robert Rogers, and we're going to be discussing some items today with Dr. Ronald Rogers. And it is May 6th, 2016. Dr. Rogers, you have the floor.
Hi, Robert. I'm Ron Rogers.
Well, go ahead, Dr. Rogers. I know that you have been looking at the news lately and collecting some opinions and information as to how you perceive things. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
I will. I have been watching CBS News for a number of years now, but I've been particularly attentive lately because I am concerned about the bias against Donald Trump that I see the three people, Gail, Charlie, and Nora, engaging in each day. They open their newscast with how people do not like Donald Trump, how the Republican Party is distancing themselves from Donald Trump. And so I thought I would just undertake a look at things and see if that was their main thrust, or are they going to be fair in some cases?
All right. Now,
And I do not see them as being fair in their assessment of the Trump candidacy.
well, earlier we were talking about there was a quote that Donald Trump had declared war or destabilized the Republican Party. And I think you were of the mind that the party destabilized itself. Is
Yes,
that
I
correct?
think we both talked about that. And Donald Trump did not divide anything. If anything, it was the Republican Party themselves. Donald Trump, as far as I know, was merely a candidate on the Republican ticket. He chose to be a candidate on the Republican ticket and was apparently successful.
All right.
Now, wherein the Republican Party has decided that he has divided the party is beyond me to understand.
Well, I understand that. I think that's well stated. Do you have examples of these people that I think you had mentioned Paul Ryan?
Well, Paul Ryan, I don't want to say he's a moral coward, but I think anybody in that position who stands up there and says, I haven't made up my mind yet, is a little bit trying to hedge his bets, as it were.
Right.
I mean, Donald Trump is the obvious Republican standard bearer at this point. Even his enemies have referred to him as the head of the Republican Party now.
Exactly.
And for Paul Ryan to say, well, I haven't made up my mind yet, I think is kind of like things that Hillary Clinton does, waiting to see the way that the end comes out, or to use a oft used phrase, wait to see the way the wind is blowing.
Right.
I think people need to take a stance.
Right.
If you are against Donald Trump, say so. If you're going to support Donald Trump, say so.
I appreciate that. Now, and again, I mean, obviously, your information and positions are backed or supported by how many presidential elections you've seen over your lifetime.
Oh,
Far
my.
more than most people.
Oh, well, I indeed have seen quite a few. And
Have you ever seen this level of behavior or type of distancing? And
no, I have not. I have never seen the Republican Party, or any party for that matter, in the United States deliberately sabotage themselves. It's almost suicidal, in my opinion, for major people in the Republican Party to say, we're not going to vote for Donald Trump,
All
or
right.
we're going to refrain from coming to the convention. The Bushes just
Sure.
announced that
Sure.
that would be their policy.
Right. Now, you had mentioned to me earlier from your training and education experience the parallel between propaganda that may be going on here from these media outlets and propaganda of some bad times in the past.
Well, certainly what is being put out by NBC, ABC, and NBC is propaganda in the extreme. And I sort of have likened it to Nazi Germany propaganda, wherein they decided to tell a lot of falsehoods about Jewish populations in Europe to promote their party and to give the German people something to be angry about. Now, that's a total another story. I am
Sure.
just saying that, the propaganda being utilized by the major networks here varies very little from the German propaganda of the Nazi regime
Well,
in
and-
the 1930s and 1940s.
And I would wager that, consistent with that point, the depth and expanse and touch of these networks exceeds the power and authority even of the Third Reich's
Oh, it
propaganda
certainly
machine.
does. That's a good point. In those days, we only had radio, telegraph, things of that sort. Now, mass media is able to disseminate to millions of Americans instantly
Right.
their information
Sure.
several times per day.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you have any concluding remarks on this topic that we should be aware of, or should we wait for further updates and information on these lines?
Well, I am trained to understand propaganda. When people are making false statements, I'm trained in recognizing body language. When people are lying, I'm trained to observe that, and I have seen a lot of that. And I would say that what we have to fear more than anything now is the kind of innuendo, lies coming from the mass media. Certainly we have more to fear from them than we have from any candidate that's
All right.
running for political
Well, I think
office.
that's a real good point.
Yeah.
I think you're right there. Absolutely. Well, Dr. Rogers, thank you for your time today, and we will continue with this same topic and a number of others,
Well,
right?
thank you for letting me express my views, and I certainly want to follow up on this.
All right. And if you have any comments or would like to contact us, you can reach us at robertrogers500@gmail.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.